Hey, some of you have been following my blogs for my Alaska trip that's happening in May on ajauntydip.tumblr.com or northernexposure.net. But for this blog I'm going to be talking about my short trip to Paris that I did in this week. So how did it all start? My boss came to me on Tuesday and said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Well, I'm working for you." He said, "Okay, good. So bring your passport in, I need to send you to Paris." I work for a camel rental company and we work in conjunction with Panavision Alga. So I had to send a Alexa XT down to Paris, but obviously it has to be couriered because it's a very expensive camera. So as all of this is happening, it occurred to me that this is quite a good opportunity for me to film it and just to blog it just because I can. So this is my story of Paris. I have my passport, camera, keys. I need my keys. There. That's about it. So because the train tickets had changed, I got to work in the morning. Hello? It was originally supposed to be going at 1 o'clock, then 2 o'clock, and then coming back the same day, and then it all changed, so I was just constantly running backwards and forwards to St Pancras station, changing the ticket. It all went pretty smoothly in the end. I had to rush to the station, get the last train, and heart was pumping because of two big companies depending on this camera getting there. So what if I don't get there? Ooh. Okay, so this is what I'm taking to Paris. Little old me takes that big box. And so, just managed to get the train. I had to run like mad. It's been mental. When I booked my ticket, my ticket again for departure, I booked it for 2:30 because they said I had to be there half an hour before departure. But then when they've called the production company in France, they're like, "Well, we don't work after 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, we go home." And my train got in at 10 to 6, and they just weren't prepared to do that. So I had to run down to King's Cross station with a massive camera and get the 13:31. I had like 4 minutes to spare, and they were checking the box out in the passport control. But I'm on the train. That's what matters. I'm sitting with a really nice family in tables, a really lovely family. But I felt a little bit weird getting my camera out or my phone out and just start blogging at a table. But I thought it was a bit weird. I might wait an hour and then I'll start blogging. Maybe. It was a bit weird. I'm a bit weird. People are looking at me. Look at all those people looking at me. Those people looking at me. Oh well, I'm going to Paris, baby. Calm down. Almost departure time. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kids. Yeah. So get myself some food. I've had a really nice time on this train. It's lovely people. Look, that's the box. That's the box that I'm taking with me. Little old me. Once I dropped the camera off, I decided to head straight to my hostel. Everyone was really friendly there because I had my camera around my shoulder, but people were coming up to me saying, "Don't have your camera out, don't have your camera out, there's pickpockets around." Which is quite scary because the locals are telling me to look after my stuff, and I mean, all that I had out was a camera, unless someone wanted to yank it off me. But still, I was cautious. I'd walked down to the hostel and booked myself into a 14 dorm room, which I'm really comfortable with because I've travelled in Asia for a while before, so hostels is pretty much all I know. So it's really comfortable, and you always know you turn up at a hostel and you're going to meet a bunch of people there. I met a really nice Spanish lady that was there, which was nice because intento aprender español pero no muy bueno. So I speak a very, very little bit of Spanish, which was nice to be able to talk to her because I've been to Spain a couple of times. It's always nice to speak the language, you know. But I don't speak any French, except for bonjour. Ça va, which I don't know what that means. But yeah, so it was nice to speak something a little bit different. I'm going to go for a walk with my camera. Have a beer. Do you speak French?
A little.
A little. How do you say beer?
Beer.
Beer in French.
Beer.
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 Beer. Oh, well, that's easy. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this thing very ladylike ish. Like. So just before I'm leaving the hostel, I asked the guy who ran it, how do I get to Sacré-Cœur Church? So he got me a map out and circled the station on the metro that I need to go to, which was really helpful. It's always exciting travelling in a country that you don't speak the language in and trying to get around, because you learn a lot about yourself as well, how you converse with other people and how well you perform in a situation where communication isn't easy. So it's good, you push yourself and you learn a lot. I look like such a tourist because I've got my camera strapped around me and I'm looking at this ticket booth and I'm just pouring at the wheel trying to get past. I can't move it slowly enough. I'm just keep going past the speak English section. So embarrassing. But anyway, I got on the train and it's super easy. It's so easy to get around in the metro. It's all mapped out for you. It's really, really, really easy. I know that Paris is a very romantic city, but I was quite surprised to see how much public displays of affection there were. People, not like full on like snogging, but people were very cuddly and touchy-feely with each other. It was nice. It was really pretty to see. And on the train, everyone's hugging, and it was very musical as well. There's always someone on the train playing some sort of music, or yeah, it was really, really nice.
Naturellement, le mec qui gérait ça, quand il a gardé le secret qu'on ne payerait pas les frais, que les gars, je ne sais pas, on va avec eux, alors que tous les ans c'est secret.
So stepping out of the metro, I'm at Jerez, or can't pronounce it, but where the Sacré-Cœur Church is. So stepping out, and I find myself staring at this building, this time-worn, fantastic, almost ancient building. It's been preserved. It's got barbed wire all the way over it, and underneath it what looks like a Southeast Asian laundrette. It's so basic. There's nothing else to it. It's just that's what it is, which is great. None of this TV crap that you have over here. It's very basic. It's great. You can't touch it. You can't touch the architecture. It's great. They preserve it. It's got so much life to it. It's so nice. It's wonderful. So as soon as I realised I had to stop drooling at this building, I went straight up the hill and went to go find the Sacré-Cœur, which was just peering over the side of these, I guess, modern day buildings. The Botanic Gardens were just amazing as you walk into the grounds. I stopped for a second, watched the people go by, and then I decided to walk up to the top. I'm walking up to the top and I was not going to let myself turn around until I got right to the top. I didn't want to see the view until I could see it at its absolute prime. Which was really difficult because there's like different layers. I started talking to some different people while I was there. It was just great actually, but trying so hard just to ignore that bit. But it was so worth it, not to spoil it and just to look at it from the top. And I got to the steps. I got to the bottom of the steps of the Sacré-Cœur, and I'm looking up, and it stands 83 meters high, which is massive. I'd been there for a few minutes and I'd really sucked in this history. And then I thought, okay, now you can turn around. So I'd slowly turned around and I think I just stopped breathing for a second actually, just held my breath. It wasn't what I expected. I expected it to be more grey, slightly more dirty looking. But it wasn't. It was, because we were so high up and it's so far away, the colours looked so pastel. I was really lucky with the weather as well. It was just clear blue skies, nothing else. And everyone's in t-shirts and it was great. I couldn't have gone on a better day. It wasn't until I was leaving the church that someone told me that I can't take pictures while I was in there, but I have them anyway, so it was, I mean, I was in there for at least half an hour and I was taking loads of pictures, and so were loads of other people, but apparently it's just not done. But the men who built this church, and any other church really, they were masters of light. They just knew it. They knew how to create something so warm and humbling as well. I'm not religious and I never really have been, but I think it's so important that when you go to a different country, you go and visit at least one house of worship, because you get a sense of the people who were there as well, because religion is so important to the majority of people. I think it's so important to visit this. And whatever you take from it, that's yours. And it's safe. I always feel safe in those sort of places. I'd been in a church for about 30 minutes and I decided I was going to leave and go back down to the grass where I'd seen a group of people playing guitar. I really wanted to go and speak to them and just kind of sit down, but I didn't want to miss the church when it was so bright. So I found myself a bench and sat at the top of the hill and contemplated talking to these people. The sun was starting to set and I decided it's time for me to head back to my hostel. Slowly, very, very slowly. And that's when I plucked up the courage to go and speak to these wonderful people.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name's Grace.
Hey, nice to
Hi,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
I'm Miriam from Morocco.
Hi.
And
Hello.
Bangladesh.
Hi. Well, I'm Grace from London.
oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's great as well because everyone's so friendly as long as you've got a smile on your face, and without a camera I'm a lot more confident and I will just normally just talk to anyone. But as long as you've got a smile on your face, the majority of the time people reciprocate that and they have a beautiful smile back.
On the darkest highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of chili gas, rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. I had to head in the side, I had to stop for the night.
They were so amazing. They were so lovely, such lovely people. I had so much fun. And it's sad, it's so unfortunate for the people who don't like to travel alone and don't like to meet all these other people, because you learn so much about yourself. I used to be so insecure and so like closed off. I was so shy until, you know, you step out of your comfort zone and you push yourself, and that's when you learn. And I recommend it to anyone. As long as you've got your wits about you and you're not stupid on the street, you'll have the best time of your life. Just smile. A smile is all you need. Just a smile. Ding! But so I decided it's time for me to head back to the hostel. And this was so exciting for me because I'd just done one part of my day and now I'm on to the next part and I have no idea who I'm going to meet. I mean, a hostel is one of those, it's a hub, isn't it? It's a hub for just like new friendship and everything. So But as I got back to my hostel, I didn't realise, I mean I don't follow football and I don't realise that the football was on. So I got back to my hostel and it's full of rowdy men watching football. So I thought, fuck this. So my boss stays with 2 people when he goes to France all the time. So he said, if you're there, just give him a call and they'll put you up. So I'd paid for my hostel anyway, but I didn't really care. So my boss had given me his number, so I called up Noel and just said, yeah, I'll be there in a bit. Went back to the hostel, and it is so bloody typical of me that I forget my safe combination number.
Shit. Typical of me. I don't remember what it is. Four, 5. Ah, look at that. First go.
I met a mental Irish guy that was there that didn't like being filmed, so I did it on the sneaky. Sneaky.
No, go on, give me the biggest smile you can.
No, so it's not cheesy.
It won't end up cheesy. Smile.
Just give me a word to say and I say it.
Cheese.
Cheese.
No, that's rubbish!
Noel and Maria live in Bastille, so I headed back onto the metro and back to theirs. They picked me up from the station, had some dinner at theirs, and they were just such wonderful people, really interesting. They put me up in a really nice little cubby room, which was so cosy, much better than I would have got in the hostel. But the highlight of the whole trip was when they decided to take me in the car for a trip around Paris. And Maria, she knows everything. She knows everything about Paris and all the history that's there. So I got the best tour, a better tour than you could pay. So a nice quote, which is quite famous, is Paris is always a good idea, and Audrey Hepburn said that, and I really understood that when they took me in the car, because especially with all the lights lit up on everything. We went past the Arc de Triomphe, I think that's how you pronounce it, and that's amazing. It was so much bigger than I expected, actually. It was commissioned by Napoleon to commemorate his military triumphs, which I think it actually took like 30 years to build, which is insane. He never actually got to see it finished, which is quite sad. When you walk inside it, you can see the names of the 128 battles of the French Republic and Napoleon's empire. That's a day in itself just to spend there, I think. But really amazing to see, and how amazing for Maria and Noel to say there's nothing more famous than this. There probably isn't. But the best thing, for sure, was driving around and seeing all the cafes, which was amazing. The Café de Fleur, the most famous cafe in Paris. But the best thing was when Noel put the sunroof out and said, "Go on then, stand up."
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's amazing. Yes.
So the Eiffel Tower was built in 1889 to celebrate the 100th year of the French Republic. As we're driving up to it, I didn't expect it to be that massive. I mean, the pillars are the exact coordinates of the compass. So there's a lot more to it when you see it, but for 40 years it was the highest statue that there was until the Chrysler Building in New York. The tower took 2 years, 2 months and 5 days to build.
This is so incredible.
Now all the lights there's like 336 spotlights that are on it, but up until about 1909 it was gas lit, which is insane. I mean, how else are they going to do it? The structure is iron, and iron bends in the heat. So it bends, the top of it bends 7 inches away from the sun, which is amazing. I mean, the amount of thought that's put into this, and it's a relic, isn't it? It's amazing.
Wow.
That was my most favourite thing. That was amazing. Because because I wasn't encased in a car, I wasn't behind a piece of glass. I was there, looking at it. It's just, you have to remember those sort of things. You can't forget them. You have to remember how you felt and take that and move and use it in every other thing that you have in life. Just remember that feeling and take it, and that's how you should feel all the time, no? I think, anyway. Maybe I'm just blabbering. The whole trip only being 1 day, less than a day, I just can't wait to travel again. I cannot wait. But bless, they treated me like a daughter. It was so nice. Set me up some nice breakfast and let me have a shower, and really lovely. But I didn't want to wake them up. I was because their bed's like almost behind the kitchen, so I was trying so hard to like peel off like my foil and everything. But I looked at my clock, and then I looked at the clock, and then I was like, shit, the taxi's outside! Taxi, taxi, taxi! So I rushed down to the taxi, had a really nice taxi man, and then it was like, be at work in a minute. That's over. It's all done now.
I have been in London many times ago. I was a child. I have 14. I was 14 years.
14, wow.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
Now it's 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years.
Can't wait for the next trip. So that was it really. I mean, that's my little trip to Paris, and next trip is to Alaska. Woo! But so I got back to my work, and as I was on my lunch break, I thought, oh God, I'm gonna get out. So I went down the canal and headed almost down to Angel in London, and stopped out at university and had a nice little deep conversation. Well, I'm at the university now, and I got back this morning from Paris. I think because I'm an only child, I spent a lot of time with a couple of generations above me. So always spending time with my parents' friends or family friends, and so many of them would all, just as they do, but so many of them just give you so much advice. Don't do this, don't waste this, go see as much live music as you can, or make sure you travel, or learn a language, or they always tell you what they wish they would have done. The thing that most of our family friends have said to me is to get out and to travel, and don't get stuck, and be flexible. It's so important. To find a job that you like. Don't get stuck in an office looking out of the window thinking, I can't wait for my 3-day holiday. It's not good enough. One of my favourite ones is David Attenborough had an interview and said that if you find a job you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life. Which is true. I had a snippet of that when I was in Thailand, filming underwater for 14 months. On island life. Best time, one of the best times of my life, and I didn't work a day and I was still earning money. My auntie passed away nearly 2 years ago now, and one of the most profound things she ever said to me was, you shouldn't worry because nothing ever stays the same, and you shouldn't waste time either because nothing ever stays the same. If you're having a really shit time, it's not going to stay like that. And if you're having a really good time, don't waste it because it's not going to stay like that. And I don't know if it's just because I idolized her for my whole life and now as well. But it just stuck with me, and nothing ever stays the same. And to enjoy the moment. It's so difficult to not be thinking about in a minute. or tomorrow or next month or next year. Just enjoy it now, right now. Because that's all you ever have is right now. Well, that's my deep conversation done for the day. Yeah. Yeah, that's done. I'm done.